What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 161 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast on this Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. I'm your host, Zach Malum. But before we get started, please subscribe below. Follow all of my social accounts. Let's start things off in the world of basketball as the New York Knicks were in action this weekend and they took down the Philadelphia 76ers in grand style. The Knicks sweep the 76ers to advance to their second consecutive Eastern Conference final. When you look at the Knicks in this series, they set the tone from game one, and a complete blowout at MSG, 137-98 last week. And then you look at what the Knicks were able to do in that game. Jalen Brunson was red hot. 35 points, 12 of 18 shooting, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Just everything you want out of your star man. They did get contributions from the rest of the starting lineup as well, with OG Anunoby, 18 points, 7 of 8 from the field, 2 of 2 from deep. And then you look at Mikal Bridges as well, 17 points on 7 of 10 shooting, 3 of 5 from deep. He also had a couple rebounds and 5 assists in the game. Just great stuff from those two guys, backing up Brunson as well. And of course, Karl-Anthony Towns always involved. He's really the second guy behind Brunson, the 3 and 4 guy in Anunoby and Bridges. They were both phenomenal throughout this series, but really stepping up behind their star 2 guys in Brunson and Towns. When you look at Towns in this game as well, 17.7 of 11 shooting. He had 6 rebounds and 6 assists in the game with 2 blocks. Great stuff from Cat. Great stuff from Brunson. Great stuff from everybody as the Knicks completely dominate the Sixers in game 1 at MSG. They shot 63% from the field in this game, 51% from deep, 19 three-pointers. Just everything was falling, and it continued that way in game 2, where the Knicks took on the Sixers once again at Madison Square Garden. A little bit closer this time, 108-102 was the final. It was Jalen Brunson once again, 26 points in this game, and the Knicks continued in a close game to find ways to close it out. Jalen Brunson was the star of that. OG Anunoby also was huge for the Knicks, not as efficient shooting-wise as the last game, but 24 points on 9 of 17 shooting. Karl-Anthony Towns had almost a triple-double. He finished with a double-double in the game. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists on 6 of 8 shooting. And again, another great performance by Mikal Bridges, who had 18 points on 9 of 13 shooting, 5 rebounds, 2 assists as well. A steal and a block in the game. Just great stuff from Mikal Bridges once again, stepping up when the Knicks needed it the most. And it continued on in game 3. Let's go to game 3 now, down in Philadelphia, where the Knicks had a tougher test. They had to take on the Sixers on their home floor. But if you knew anything about the Sixers and the fans and anything coming into the series, they were trying to keep the Knicks fans out. That didn't work at all. The Knicks fans were all over the place and completely erupted in the arena. Jalen Brunson had 33 points for the Knicks in this game on 11 of 22 shooting. I mean, great stuff from the rest of the guys, though, with Mikal Bridges having 23 points in this one, 8 of 14 shooting. Landry Shamet was a huge contributor off the bench as well. 15 points, 5 of 6 shooting, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. The 33 points from Brunson, along with the 9 assists, is just peak performance for Jalen Brunson and what we've been accustomed to in the postseason for the last couple of years, when Karl-Anthony Towns maybe didn't have his best shooting night, only took 8 shots, but only had 8 points on the day. He had 12 rebounds and 7 assists as well in the game, but he's not scoring the ball as much. You have Jalen Brunson and you have Mikal Bridges, who really stepped up in the absence as well of OG Anunoby, who was out for this game. The Knicks do a great job of next man up mentality with OG Anunoby out. You got Mikal Bridges and Jalen Brunson stepping up. That's exactly what they did once again in Game 4, and this one was a complete beatdown on Sunday afternoon down in Philadelphia. 144-114 the final. The Knicks demolished the Sixers with three-pointers all around, and that was the story of the game. The Knicks hit a NBA postseason record 25 three-pointers in the game. They were red hot in the first half, could not miss from deep. It continued on into the second half. They shoot 54% on the day, And without OG Anunoby in the lineup, how about Deuce McBride coming in a starter spot, steps up for this Knicks team when they need it the most. 29 minutes in the game. How about 25 points from Deuce McBride? 7 of 10 from the field, 7 of 9 from deep, 4 rebounds in the game as well. Great stuff from Deuce, and that's a huge moment for him. Confidence booster for him. A guy who hasn't been completely healthy, this season. He steps up when the Knicks need it as well. And he's the leading scorer for the Knicks on the afternoon as the Knicks win it by 30. They demolish the Sixers and advance to their second consecutive Eastern Conference Finals. Great stuff from this Knicks team. Coming into this series, you felt maybe Philly had some momentum coming off of that series win against Boston. You also looked at a possible revenge factor. Philly was defeated by the Knicks in the Eastern Conference playoffs just a couple of years ago. But an unhealthy Joel Embiid, and this Knicks team proved that if they play their A game, there's not many teams that can stop them. They were lights out shooting wise in every single one of these games, and Philly could not get even close to the Knicks in the end. And I don't think Knicks fans thought it was going to be this easy. 4-0 series sweep, but they could sit back and relax and take a rest as OG Anunoby tries to get healthy again. That's a huge factor heading into the Eastern Conference Finals, where the Knicks can sit back and watch the other Eastern Conference semifinal matchup between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. That series is going to Game 5, tied at 2, so you know there's going to be a Game 6. If there is a Game 7, it's just more time for OG Anunoby to rest up. It's also more time now for the Pistons and the Cavaliers to be a little bit tired heading into the Eastern Conference Finals. That's exactly what the Knicks want to see, and it's feeling really good right now in New York. The Knicks fans are really starting to believe it's going to be a little bit difficult if they get past one of these two teams to make it into the NBA Finals. The West is a gauntlet of a conference so far this year, and there's a couple of tough teams that they will have to face, but the Knicks' path to the NBA Finals is looking pretty easy right now. I will say if they do play Detroit, a team that's had their number so far this year, may not be the easiest for this Knicks team, but if they're playing their A game and if they're playing like they did against Philadelphia, I mean, there's not many teams in basketball that will get through the Knicks in a 7-game series. So we'll see what happens, but make sure you tune in tomorrow as the Cavs take on the Pistons. 8 o'clock start up in Detroit. 3.5-point favorites. The Pistons are coming into that game, so we'll see what happens. Cavs have won the last 2 after the Pistons won the first 2 on their home floor. So we'll see what happens. Make sure you tune into that one. 8 o'clock tomorrow night. It's the Pistons and the Cavs in Game 5 up in Detroit. Let's finish things off today in the world of baseball, as both New York teams have been struggling lately. And we start things in Queens with the New York Mets after they looked pretty good for the first part of their road trip. They ended up winning 4 of their last 5 games for a stretch of this road trip against Los Angeles and Colorado, but they lose the final game of the Colorado series, a 6-2 loss. It was a Jake McCarthy grand slam. Still a question of was it fair or foul, but Craig Kimbrell allowed 3 guys on with no outs in the 8th inning, and you're never going to really get out of that without a run scored or a couple runs scored. It ended up being a 4th spot, and the Mets lose that game 6-2. But they headed into a 3-game set against the Arizona Diamondbacks. A couple of games early in this season where the Diamondbacks got to the Mets and were holding them to very minimal runs. It was pretty much the same in this series. The Mets ended up getting 1 game of that 3-game set. It was a Ronnie Mauricio walk-off, if you remember, all the way back on April 7th. But the Mets this time around were on the road down in Arizona. They ended up taking the first game of the 3-game set. Great job by Nolan McLean. And who else is going to step up for the Mets right now? Nolan McLean was really good in this one. 6 innings, 3 hits allowed, just the 1 earned run with 6 strikeouts, and really stepped up. 100 pitches, and the Mets needed it. He really stepped up for them. And then you look at the 10th inning. That was the story of the game. The Mets drive in a couple of runs. It started with a Mark Vientos RBI double, and then it was Carson Bench who hit an RBI ground rule double to give the Mets a 3-1 lead. That's all she wrote. and Tobias Myers gets the save, his first save of the year. Mets win it 3-1 in 10. Then they head into the next game of the 3-game set, and that's where the losing started to come, where the Mets could just not get anything going on the offensive side. And really, Arizona got to Clay Holmes in that third inning, and that was the difference. Merrill Kelly, a guy who came into this series with a 9.95 ERA, had 4 outings before this game against the Mets, and every single one of them was absolutely putrid. He ends up getting his second win of the year and goes 7 innings strong, 3 hits allowed, just the 1 earned run on a Brett Baty RBI double in the second inning. He had 3 walks and 6 strikeouts. Great stuff from Merrill Kelly, who steps up and outduels Clay Holmes, who went 5 2/3, 5 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and 6 Ks in the game. Gets charged with his 3rd loss of the year. That's really it. The Mets, after the second inning, had nothing on the offensive side, and they are held to 3 hits in this game. Just really sour stuff for this Mets team after they had a good win the night before. Cannot repeat it with the really down performance on offense the night after. And then it was the afternoon game on Sunday where Eduardo Rodriguez, who had the Mets number early on in the season as well, with that outing all the way back a month ago against this Mets team, he ends up getting another win, but this time around he was even better. When you look at his line on the day, 8 1/3, 4 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 4 Ks, and he really had a no-hitter going into the 6th inning. That's when it ended, and Luis Torrens did a great job of getting this offense going. Hits an RBI double after Carson Bench broke up the no-hitter. Then it was the Diamondbacks who responded. It was an RBI single by Waldschmidt, who had an RBI double earlier, or excuse me, a 2-run double earlier in the game. And then it was Ketel Marte, who had an RBI triple that ended up scoring 2. 5-1 Diamondbacks. Mets offense struggles again, only 4 hits. But this one was really more so about Carlos Mendoza, in my opinion, and the lineup that he put out for this game against Eduardo Rodriguez. Eduardo is a lefty, had the Mets number early in the season, absolutely. But you're putting Austin Slater and Andy Ibanez in the lineup because, well, you're facing a lefty, and those guys are somewhat of good hitters against lefty pitching. They're righty batters, and you don't want to put a lefty bat in the lineup, Beatty, Melendez, and so on. And even Benj was in the lineup, so that was a bit of a surprising thing because Beatty's not in the lineup, and of course he's been struggling this year. Melendez, who's been really good this year, ends up not getting into the lineup as well. But you're looking at this lineup going Andy Ibanez and Austin Slater, like that's all that Eduardo Rodriguez has to get through. He's not going to pitch to Juan Soto. He's probably not going to pitch too much to Bo Bichette either, even though those guys are struggling right now. The rest of the lineup, he's just going to mow through them. Every single batter, left and right. It was just a disaster for the Mets on offense in this game, and I think a big story of that is what they're putting out there each and every day. I know they have injuries right now. Jorge Polanco is out. Luis Robert is out. Francisco Lindor is out. There's a lot of guys that are on the IL that were expected to be in this lineup, but they got to have somebody better than Austin Slater and somebody better than Andy Ibanez, who also had 2 errors in the game at third base. They have to have somebody, whether it's in the minors, whether it's just anybody on the bench, that can be better than what the product that they're putting out there from Andy Ibanez as well as Austin Slater is. It's just not great right now for this Mets lineup. And you look at the guys that they're putting out there, they're not going to win many games with that type of lineup. They're not going to win really any games, it looks like, with that kind of lineup. They have a couple guys at the top that can really hit the ball, even though they haven't been so recently. The rest of the guys, it's just really ugly to look at each and every day when Carlos Mendoza puts out a lineup for this Mets team. So hopefully he'll have a better lineup today because they have to really go up against a pitcher that has just been so bad so far this year. The walk rate for Jack Flaherty is terrible. It is the highest in Major League Baseball under a qualifier. I mean, Jack Flaherty, 0-3, 5.56 ERA where they open a 3-game set, the Mets do, at Citi Field. 7:10 start tonight. Flaherty takes on Freddie Peralta. And if Freddie Peralta gives you a good outing, 6 innings or 5 innings, and only a run or 2, this Mets team should put up 7 runs, 8 runs in this game. I mean, they should get to Jack Flaherty right away. He has not been good. The Mets have lefty bats all around that can try and hit the ball. They haven't been so far, but I think they will wake up sooner rather than later. They have to really step up against a bad pitcher in Flaherty. If they do not, it's going to be stirring around there at Citi Field, because I mean, every single day you're expecting this Mets team to wake up on offense, and they continue to surprise you by not waking up on offense, especially against some bad pitchers in baseball, which the Mets have struggled against so far this year. Guys with ERAs over 5 have completely dominated the Mets, minus a couple of guys who've struggled. They really, for the most part, have struggled against bad pitchers. That's simple as that. And then when you look at this Mets team, they have really good pitchers right now. The starting rotation has been strong, and they have to continue to ride those guys. But sooner rather than later, those guys go, well, the offense is not putting up many runs. How am I doing my job? And nobody's really stepping up for me. I think Freddie Peralta, Nolan McLean, Clay Holmes, you're seeing those 3 guys really step up right now, with a Mets team behind them that is really struggling to find runs. So the Mets head into a 3-game set against the Detroit Tigers, as we'll see what happens next couple of days as the Mets take on the Tigers at Citi Field. And finally, on the other side of New York, the New York Yankees were also struggling this weekend. They have lost 5 of their last 6 games for the first time in a long time this season. And then when you look at the Yankees overall, I mean, it's really good still. They still sit in second place now behind the Tampa Bay Rays, but it came down to the Yankees just were not good enough in terms of their bullpen in the last week or so. When you look at the last series against the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Brewers are a good team, tough team to face off against, one of the top teams in the National League, although they did lose their ace in Freddie Peralta. Jacob Misiorowski has pretty much stepped up since then as well. He's got a 3-2 record on the year, and the ERA is pretty good. He really dominated the Yankees on Friday, and the Yankees just could not get to him. Really good stuff from Misiorowski, who was just throwing beamers from the mound. I mean, 103 miles per hour. He had 7 pitches of 103 plus in this game. Great stuff from him. 6 innings strong, 2 hits allowed, no runs with 2 walks, 11 Ks. Just mowing down Yankee hitters. Max Fried struggled. Just a bad outing for him. 6 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs with 3 walks and 5 Ks. It was the 4th spot in the second inning that really hurt Fried and got the Brewers offense and the Brewers crowd going. Just not a great day for the Yankees on offense, only 3 hits, but the Yankees offense has been red hot. So you're like, okay, well, they may as well move on to tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. Then they go to Saturday's game, though, and they had a lead. That was the big thing for this Yankees team. They had a 2-0 lead early on in the 4th inning when Paul Goldschmidt hit an RBI single after he homered in the 1st inning to start off the game. It was Jake Bauers, though, who responded in the 7th inning with a solo shot, and then Contreras responds as well with an RBI single. In the 8th inning, the Yankees end up giving up 2 runs, and it forces extra innings. The Yankees responded, Ryan McMahon, with an RBI single in the 10th inning, and it was Schumann who came in to score. Gave the Yankees a 3-2 lead with that ghost runner, and then it was the Milwaukee Brewers who completely ran through the Yankees bullpen in this game once again. Tim Hill ends up giving up the RBI sac fly for Contreras, and he wins the game, walks it off for the Brewers, 4-3 loss. Tough loss for the Yankees, but again, it's going to happen. The Yankees are going to lose some games here and there. The bullpen has just been a worrying sign, and it was once again on Sunday when the Yankees went into a game and had an early lead. It was Aaron Judge who did not lead off the game, but had a 1st inning home run once again. He just continues to rake in the 1st inning this year. has a home run to give the Yankees a 1-0 lead. Spencer Jones added on with an RBI single, his first major league RBI. But then it was the Brewers who responded, and good stuff from them. They got to Rodon in that fourth inning, who had his first outing of the year. Pretty solid outing, you would say, minus that fourth inning where they started to get to him, and they ultimately took a 3-2 lead with Perkins hitting a 2-run single in the fourth. It was Jazz Chisholm who had a huge RBI double in the sixth to tie the game at 3, but then it was Bryce Terang up against David Bednar, who's been just a little bit iffy so far this year. Bednar ends up giving up a bomb, a walk-off home run into center field. He goes 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit allowed, 1 earned run, with no walks and 2 strikeouts. The ERA up to 3.71 after that one. So just a little bit shaky. You need a little bit more from your closer. And of course, it was not a save situation, but he did not step up for the Yankees in this one. He ends up allowing the bomb to center, and the Brewers finish off this series sweep and walk it off against the Yankees for the second time in just a couple of days. And then you look at the Yankees. Overall, they are a very good team. They're going to be just fine in the AL East, probably going to win the division. I do not know if Tampa can keep this up, how red hot they are. But the thing that Tampa relies on, that the Yankees were also relying on for a lot of the season, pitching. Pitching has to be really strong. And if the pitching is not strong, you cannot expect this offense to pick you up too much. The Yankee offense has picked up their pitchers plenty so far this season. And of course, you're going to have some series where the ball is just not dropping. And of course, some bad outs for the Yankees and unlucky outs in the end. You're going to have those games. But it's all about the pitching stepping up as well to keep the Yankees in games, and they were not able to do that throughout this series against Milwaukee. So they head into a 3-game set against the Baltimore Orioles, where once again, pitching let the Yankees down, and it was the bullpen that let the Yankees down. They headed into the 3-game set with Ryan Weathers on the mound. He ends up getting a no-hitter through 6 innings. But then it got into the 7th, and that's where the trouble was for this Yankees team. Ben Rice started off the 3rd inning with a 2-run home run. He sent that one into left center field, gave the Yankees a 2-0 lead. But then it was Ryan Weathers going into that 7th inning, goes 6 1/3 in the game, just the 1 hit allowed, but has 2 earned runs after Brent Hedrick ends up letting up a 3-run bomb. And Mayo hits a 3-run bomb, gives the Orioles a 3-2 lead, and that was all she wrote, as the Yankee offense could not respond after that. The bullpen hurts the Yankees this time around once again, and Brent Hedrick, who's been really good so far this season, it's just one bad pitch. Mayo takes him deep, and the Orioles win the first game of the 3-game set, 3-2 the final. Yankees 26-16 now on the year. Struggling just a little bit. 4 of their last 5 games they have lost, or 5 of their last 6 games, they have lost, and the Yankees just have to respond right now with Baltimore, a team that's not as great so far this season. They've gotten a lot better in the month of May, but they have Will Warren on the mound, the Yankees do tonight, and they are probably going to take a bullpen game, Baltimore is. So if the Yankees want to really start things going again and get things rolling again, it really all starts tonight, because a bullpen game against Baltimore, they should really truck through this bullpen and Will Warren on the mound. Will Warren, not great his last outing, ended up losing against Texas, a 6-1 loss in that one. They have to step up, though. This Yankees offense got to be right there for Will Warren to back him up. The offense is going to wake up at some point. Will Warren's got to do his thing. They have to get to this Baltimore bullpen, though. In a bullpen game, when the Yankees need a win, they have to step up. 6:35 start tonight. We'll see what happens the rest of the series. Fried against Bradish as well tomorrow. So the Yankees should win the next 2 games of this series. Just about the offense really stepping up, and the pitching and the bullpen especially really getting going and not allowing the runs late in games like they have so in the last couple of days. So we'll see what happens, but make sure you tune in all series long as the Yankees take on the Orioles down at Camden Yards. But that will do it for episode 161 of the MudWatch Sports Podcast. Please subscribe below. I've been Zach Malum, and thanks for watching, and talk to you all on Thursday.